There is some good news for people planning trips to Yellowstone National Park. Officials plan to reopen parts of the park this week, with other areas on track to reopen within the next 2 weeks. Thanks for being with us for 2 News at 5. I'm Heidi Hatch.
Hey everybody, I'm Jim Spiewak. So the National Park Service says that the park's southern loop will reopen on Wednesday of this week, followed by the northern loop in the next 2 weeks. They've also announced $50 million in emergency funding to try to help restore all of this temporary access to the towns near the park, including Gardiner and Cooke City in Montana.
Haley Crumbleholm joins us live tonight with the impact the closures are having on some of those towns and businesses.
So a county commissioner tells me, Heidi, that right now for the town of Gardiner, they're really limiting access to just residents and official business. That's because there's still a boil water notice for that town, and so they're not really welcoming visitors. And even if they could come, they couldn't get into the park from there.
We're still kind of doing triage right now, trying to figure out where we are. We're still looking for one of our bridges.
Steve Caldwell is the chairman of the Park County Commission in Montana. He was in Gardiner at the end of last week, meeting with business owners and assuring them they're working to get funding flowing to them.
They're pretty stretched at the moment. They're trying to make payroll. They're trying to pay vendors. They're trying to, in some cases, refund lodging deposits.
With a boil water order still in effect, Caldwell says they aren't encouraging visitors to the town right now. And in a tourism town, that's tough for business.
This kind of a shutdown for them comes at probably the worst possible time, in that they have already ordered a full season's worth of food. They've already brought on employees for the season.
The Park Service says $50 million in emergency funding will be used in part to help restore access to Gardiner, saying Sunday plans are being finalized for improving the old Gardiner Road for temporary access between Yellowstone and Gardiner, Montana. They say working with the Federal Highway Administration, crews and materials that were set to work on another project in the park will now be diverted to this old Gardiner Road project.
It makes me hopeful that at least the wheels are turning quickly, and I think that'll be good news for the folks in Gardiner.
He says in the meantime, businesses are looking to retool themselves, like Richard Parks, who owns Parks Fly Shop.
We opened in '53. I've been running the place since my father passed in 1970.
They do guided tours and run a retail store.
Guiding in the park represented typically around 60% of my guide business, which represented 40% maybe of my whole business. So it's a very significant thing.
So the shop quickly pivoted to try to attract customers outside of town.
My young tech guru guy, 48 hours, got us into an online store.
They've already had some orders.
It's not like what we would expect to do over the counter with a normal summer day crowd.
But for Parks, he says he's in a better situation than some.
I'm fortunate in that we didn't have a mortgage and did have some cash reserve. There's people that are simply not going to be able to sustain it.
Now, even though parts of the park will reopen this week, there are some caveats to when you will be able to get inside. We'll tell you how that's going to work, plus hear how people are supporting some of these towns cut off from entrance to the park right now. Live in Salt Lake City, Haley Crumbleholm, KUTV 2 News.